fine balance between the oncotic pressure and the pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure. Even subtle alteration, there is a lymphatic drainage which removes the fluid from the alveoli. So, it is a delicate balance which prevents the fluid from the pulmonary capillaries going into the alveoli. So, how does this negative pressure pulmonary edema happen? There are two theories. One is the hydrostatic fluid shift theory and another one is the mechanical stress theory. Coming to the hydrostatic mechanism. Here, due to obstruction, there is a high negative intrathoracic pressure. This high negative intrathoracic pressure augments the venous return to the right side of the heart. So, there is an increased venous return. This increased venous return increases the pulmonary venous pressure, which in turn increases the pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure. Not only that, this negative intrathoracic pressure also decreases the perivascular interstitial hydrostatic pressure, so that the fluid from the pulmonary capillary goes into the alveoli. And third, as the pressure is altered, your fluid from the pulmonary capillaries goes into the interstitium and into the alveolar space, and this is the transient pulmonary edema. So, your fluid here goes into the alveoli because of altered pressure in the pulmonary capillary as well as the alveoli. This is the first theory. Coming to the second theory, which is caused by mechanical stress on the blood gas barrier. Here, the patient is trying to breathe against an obstructed airway. So, what happens? The transmural pressure between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillary is altered and it is increased. This causes disruption of epithelial and endothelial surface, as I told earlier, and it alters the pulmonary microvascular membrane also. Now, the pulmonary capillary permeability is increased and protein-rich fluid from the pulmonary capillaries goes into the alveoli. This is the second theory of development of negative pressure pulmonary edema. Here, you can see the blood gas barrier being altered. The yellow one is the disruption of the alveolar capillary membrane and the fluid goes into the alveoli. This is the second theory of negative pressure pulmonary edema. Here, you can see the normal opening of the cord. The pleural pressure is hardly -3 to -6. Rise gas exchange happen and the pulmonary capillary fluid is not moved into the alveoli. And you can see this is the diaphragmatic contraction and this is the venous return to the right side of the heart. Now, an obstruction happens. Here you can see the pleural pressure required to generate the airflow inside the obstructed airway is gone up to -100. And here you can see the fluid filled alveoli. The fluid from the pulmonary capillaries is breached into the alveoli. And what happens here? The negative inspiratory pressure. Here you can see the diaphragm, dark arrow. When compared to this, here you can see the arrow mark is slightly thick. That is the diaphragmatic contraction which is required to overcome the obstruction. Not only that, by doing this, you can see the venous return. Compared to the venous return in normal, here you can see the thick blue line which increases the venous return to the heart. This is the pathophysiology which happens with airway obstruction. Differential diagnosis of negative pressure pulmonary edema. All cases of pulmonary edema are going to have dyspnea, tachypnea, there is going to be oxygen desaturation, rales and frothy sputum. Look for arrhythmias, ST changes or evidence of left heart failure. Then it is going to be cardiogenic pulmonary edema which can be diagnosed by echocardiogram and your elevated pulmonary capillary wedge pressure. If no signs of arrhythmia or ST changes are there, then look for fluid overload or unintended hypotonic excessive fluid administration. Then it can be fluid maldistribution which can be hydrogenic. Here you can look at the sodium and the osmolarity and diagnose it. If this is not there, then look for recurrent traumatic or hemorrhagic brain lesion or an intracranial mass. If that is present, it is neurogenic pulmonary edema but this can be associated with acute hypertension. If this is not there, then look for hypotension, rash, swelling, bronchospasm, or an allergen exposure. If that is present, it might be due to anaphylaxis where you have an elevated tryptase level. If these signs are not there, look for acute airway obstruction. If that is present, then it is negative pressure pulmonary edema. If this airway obstruction is not present, then the diagnosis of